So today basically we will discuss about the access of ASA, how we can get the access of ASA. Okay. So if we want to access the ASA firewall, we have two ways to access the ASA firewall. First one is a command line interface and second one is a graphical user interface. Okay. To working with ASA, I like to use CLI only, that command line interface. Okay, because command line interface is more understandable. Okay, rather than graphical user interface. So if you want to access the ASA by using command line interface, so for that we have a three ways. First one is a console, second one is a telnet, and third one is a SHS. Okay. So what happened in console? If like this is my ASA firewall, okay, so that firewall have a dedicated console port. Okay, always it is having one dedicated console port. Okay, so let's suppose this is a console port. Okay, let me write the name. This is a console port, and basically here we have maybe one management switch. Okay, management switch. Okay, and that through this switch basically our inside users are connected, or any user is connected, like ID admins is connected through this switch. Now they get the not see, actually this is not management switch. Actually I am telling about that other thing. Okay, this is not applicable on console port, sorry guys. Okay, what happens in console port? Like this is a console port, like here we have a console port. Okay, so what we do, we connect our system here, PC, by using a serial cable. Okay, we have a like serial cable. Okay, so when we connect this ASA by using the serial cable, that time we got the console access of a firewall. So how basically we get the access of console like this? If I'll go in, if I'll open my ASA firewall here, okay. So when I click on this firewall, actually I am using this software EVNG. Okay, so if I double click on that firewall, I'll get the console access of this particular device. Okay, as yesterday I saw that you saw that physical hardware of this ASA firewall. There we have a console port, right? So when you access this ASA by using console port, you get the ASA in this way. Okay. After that, you can run any commands there. Okay, and you can go to either in configuration mode. Okay. So to access the ASA by using console port, we need a serial cable. Okay. Remember this point here. We also have a telnet here. Okay, we can either use a telnet. So what happened in case of telnet? Like this is my ASA firewall. Okay, so let's suppose this is my inside interface. Okay, let's suppose this is my inside interface. Okay, this is my inside interface. So what I'll do, I'll configure the telnet on this interface. Okay, I just enable the telnet services on this port. Okay, so let's suppose this is a Ethernet 0/1 port. Okay, so I enable the telnet service over there, and I'll just run the telnet from this PC. Okay, or this inside user. So if you want to get the telnet access, I run this command telnet and the IP address of this interface. Let's suppose this IP address of this interface 1.10.10.250. Okay. So we enable the telnet service over there, and we can access this ASA by putting the telnet from here, this PC. Okay, and that telnet is working on TCP port number 23. Okay, 23. And also one more thing, telnet is not a secure protocol, right? So the thing is, if this guy try to send any commands on ASA, when he gets the access by using telnet services, that data go in a clear form. Okay, there is no any encryption happens. Okay, so anyone can launch the any kind of attacks there, and he can see the content, actual content inside this session. Okay, so to basically mitigate this problem, what they do, Cisco start using the SSH connection. Okay, so SSH work on TCP port number 22. Okay, if I'll say it is work on port number 22, and it provides the encryption, okay, and hashing. Two things it provides, basically encryption and hashing. Let me stop these using. Actually, I'm new to use this writing pad. That's why I'm working on it. So the thing is, we have a two ways. We have a three way to do the to get the access of ASA by using the CLI console, telnet, and SHS. Okay. By default, telnet, SHS, and HTTPS services are disabled on ASA firewall. Okay. So if we want to if we want the SHS access or telnet access on the ASA, we need to enable that services over there. Okay. Other way, we also have a graphical user interface. So if we want to access the ASA firewall by using graphical interface, that time we basically there is a one tool which is ASDM, Adaptive Security Device Management, or there is also one more tool, CSM, Cisco Security Manager. So we usually use these two tools to get the access of this ASA firewall. Okay, by using these tools, we get the graphical interface. Okay, so generally I like to use that console access or telnet access or SSH access. Means I like to use the CLI always, because CLI is very easy to learn. So we also have a different kind of configuration modes in ASA firewall. Okay, so if you see here, okay, if I exit from here and exit from here as well, you are able to see here this sign. Okay, this is a user access mode. Okay, in user access mode, what is the limitation? You have only limited commands over there. Okay, you don't have like you don't able to configure the IP address. You are not allowed to do any kind of configuration like ACL net over there. Okay, so what kind of commands you have in this tab? You just always press the question mark here. You get the command. So you are only limited in these commands. You can run the clear commands, enable, exit, help, login, logout, ping, wipe, show, and trace route. So you have only very limited commands there. Okay. So it's a like basic access level or user access level only. After that, there is a privilege mode level. Okay, privilege mode. So what is the difference between user access and privilege mode? In privilege mode, we have like more access on this firewall. We can run lots of commands over there. Okay, we are not limited till few commands. So how we can basically move from user access mode to privilege mode? So for that we need to just enter this keyword enable. When we run the enable, we are reaching privilege mode. Okay. The thing is here when I run the enable here, it also asks for password. Okay. If I again go to any user access mode, if I enable here, run the enable, it asks for password. So by default there is no password is set. Okay. That's why basically we are not giving any password here. We just enter here and we get the privilege mode here. If I run the question mark here, you have lots of commands, right? Now you are able to do lots of things there. You have that much commands to run here. Okay, so means you got the more access to that firewall. Okay. After that, there is a global config mode. So meaning of this global config mode means that is the mode where we configure every features, like we configure the failover, we configure the routing, we configure the IP address on interfaces, we configure the routing protocols. Okay, every feature we configure in global config mode only. How we can go to into that global config mode? And also remember, in user access mode we have a this sign, okay. In privilege mode we have a hash sign only, okay. In config mode you have a config keyword along with hash sign. How we can move from privilege mode to config mode or global config mode? We just run this command, configure terminal. So now you are in config mode. Here you are only able to do all the all the configuration from this mode only. Okay. You are able to configure the IP address, everything from this mode only. So you just remember this thing. If we directly want to go to the that privilege mode, we always run this AND keyword. Okay. So now you are in privilege mode. If you want to go to in config mode again, even you can type this configure terminal full command, or you can also type conf t. It is similar to configure terminal. Okay. Same thing with the enable also. You can even type the full command, or you can even type the en only. You can get the, you can now move into the enable mode. Okay, this mode is also known as the enable mode, okay, or privilege mode. So basically in Cisco SA firewall there is around privilege level which rely between 0 to 15. So 15 is a higher privilege level. Okay, you just remember this thing. Now if I want to in config mode, I just type this command config terminal or conf t. Now I am in a configuration mode. Okay, we can also use the exit from here. Okay, what is the difference between exit and end? So if I go to in my interface configuration, okay, if I run the end here, I'll directly go into my privilege mode. Okay, let me again go to in my configuration mode. I again go to in my interface configuration. Okay, so this is a like command for int4 interface, and this is the name of my interface. Okay, if I run the exit here, basically it basically come back me in a one step only. Now if I also need to again run the exit. So here I am running exit 2 times, then I am reaching in privilege mode. So that's why if you want to come directly in privilege mode from anywhere, you usually run the end keyword or end command. Okay, that is the difference between these two, end and exit. These are the like specific config mode. Specific config mode means these are the modes which is related to particular features. Okay, so like if I'll go in, so if I'll go in my inside my interface configuration. Okay, so I am writing this interface Giga Ethernet 0/0. This is our like a specific config mode for interface configuration. Okay, now here I can configure the interface related things. Okay, like IP address, anything, any kind of interface related features here. Okay, if I go into the router configuration mode, so this is like a specific mode for routing configuration. Okay, so these are the different kind of modes which we have in, and also there is one more mode which is a Roman mode. Okay, so what happens? We use Roman mode to configure the new images. If we want to if we want to upgrade our images, if we want to reset our password, if we forget the ASA password, then in that cases we always go into Roman mode. Okay, otherwise there is no use of Roman mode. So main mode. So what are the main modes? First one is a user access mode, second one privilege mode, and the third one is global config mode. So these are the main three modes which we have in Cisco SA firewall. We also have a Roman mode which we use for upgrading the images of the firewall. Okay, that kind of things. So here basically they are giving some theory also for that. Like CLI mode, the security appliance support different levels of access to the operating system. Different level of access means, like the thing is, if there is a L1 engineer, there is a L2 engineer, there is a L3 engineer. Okay, so we give the access of ASA device to the L1 engineer like basic only. He can only do the few things only in the ASA. To L2 engineer we give more access. To L3 we give all the accesses. Okay, so that kind, if we want to provide that kind of things, so for that we have some modes on ASA firewall. Okay, and you have any question here? Okay then, cool. This is a like user exit mode. User exit mode is the first mode that presented with once we log into the ASA security appliance. We can tell that we are at this mode by examining the prompt. Means if we get this sign, okay, this is the symbol to examine, we are in a exit mode only. Okay, here we can type the question mark to see the list of available commands like this. Okay, I'll just exit from this mode and I'll just run the question mark here, so I'll see the available commands here. Okay, there is also one more thing. If you write this en and you press the tab, that command will complete. Okay, if you want to ping something, you can write this pi and press the tab, that command will complete. Okay, so here you see two commands have the same log and log keywords here. If I type log, it will not going to complete. Okay, if I type log here, it is not going to complete. I need to, if I want to run this command log out, I just run this one. Okay, I just need to type O. If I want to log in, I'll type to this one, then only that command will be completed. Okay, see, we can use the question mark to get the help or at anywhere. Okay, like if we want to see what kind of commands we have in my interface configuration, like interface. After that, I run this command. So here we have a Giga Ethernet type of interfaces. I have a management interface, I have a redundant interface, and I have a ANI interfaces. Okay, so if I type this one Giga, that command will complete. I can also use this one, get 0/0. That will also work. Okay, so let me exit from here. If I want to see how many interfaces I have in my ASA firewall, so I run this command. So interface IP brief. That gives all the interfaces. So I am having the Giga Ethernet 0/0, Giga Ethernet 0/1, 0/2, 0/3, 0/4, 0/5, and 0/6. We also have a management interface. Okay, so that much interfaces we have in our ASA firewall. Right now, I am not configured any IP address also there. Okay. After that, we have a like privilege access mode where we have a like more access, and we run this command. We run this enable keyword here to get into the that enable mode or privilege mode. Okay. This is the like notification. If the mode is with hashed keyword, that means we are in a privilege access mode. Okay. We can use the exit or quit command to come back from like one mode to another mode, to switch back. Okay, from one mode to another mode. Also after that we have a configuration mode. So how we can go into the configuration mode, we run this command configure terminal. Okay, and that is the mode where we configure all the features of ASA, like IP address on interfaces, routing protocols, failover. Okay, every features, any kind of configuration we will do with the by in config terminal mode only. Okay, config mode only. We also have Roman mode. Okay, so that mode only used for like if we want to boot our image or if we want to upgrade the new image and if we want to reset our password. Okay, so for that we use this mode only. And the thing is, when our ASA will start, we just log in by using console cable and press the break or escape keyword. Okay, so by pressing these two keywords we can easily go to into that mode only. Okay, we can easily go to in Roman mode. It's a like difference between ASA and router commands comparison. So I am not telling you anything with this. Okay, because the thing is, when I'll configure the router and the ASA, that time I will tell you like what is the difference between the router and the ASA commands only. Okay, if we want to get the context sensitive help, that time in that cases we run this question mark here. Okay, let's suppose I want to set the clock in my ASA. Okay, I don't know the exact command, so I'll run this question mark. Okay, after that I have a set keyword. I do this set. After that we have a like hour, minute, and second. So I can define hour, minute, and second. Okay. Same for date. If I want to set the date, maybe set. Maybe there is a time zone. Not this one. Actually, there is a command. So it is not taking. I know. So clock. Actually, I hope by using clock we can set this one. Clock set. If I define my time like 09 hours 30 minutes and let's suppose 30 seconds. After that I can define the month. Okay, so if we want to define time with date, we use this command. Okay, so we can use the question mark to get the help if we are not able to recall a particular commands. We can press the tab, like if I type this en and I press the tab, command will complete. Okay, that I already show you. See, the thing is also one more thing, that is also very good command, show history. Okay, so let me run few commands here like interface 0/0, after interface 0/1, interface 0/2. Okay, I just enter this command router OSPF. Then if I run this command show history now, it gives all the commands which I have run. Okay, I run this command. So interface IPv, so date, so clock, these giga interfaces and router OSPF. Okay, so if we run the commands, we can also get the history here. So the thing is, here we only get few commands only. I don't know the exact number. Maybe it's like 15 or 16, I hope. Okay, maybe I have anyway like history. Set CLI. There are some commands. We can't set the history, I hope. Okay, so it's like default history. It gives that much command. It can save some few commands, and it also gives that information to us if we run this console history. Okay, that is not that is related to something with the routers. Okay, okay, command we can use for editing the CLI. Okay, so the thing is, there is also few commands. Control. So these are some shortcuts. Okay, so I'll only use Control A and Control E, these two shortcuts. I actually not like to use other ones. Okay, so what is the meaning of controlling? If we have like very big commands, let me write here one command. Okay, username Cisco, password Cisco, establish 15. Okay, if I run this control A keyword here, so the thing is my cursor move from this place to this place. Okay, if I am in this place and I want to go to at the last, I'll just enter this control E. Okay, I only like to use these two keywords. That's it. Control A and control E. So these are some basic configuration commands. Okay, so the thing is, first command is how we can change the host name of ASA firewall. So right now host name of this firewall is a Cisco ASA. Okay, how we can change the host name? We run this command, host name head office ASA firewall. We run this command, host name. After that we can give any name. Okay, so when I run this command, that host name become changed here. Okay, so that is the way to change the name of our firewall. Okay, the thing is, every organization have a domain name. Okay, and the thing is, when we got the ASA firewall, so these are the basic tasks. First we configure the host name, after that we configure the domain name over there. Like every company, like Cisco have a domain name which is cisco.com, like Google have a domain name google.com, like Facebook have a domain name like www.facebook.com. Okay, so every organization having the domain name, so for that we also need to define the domain name always. Okay, so this is the command, like domain name, like I am having this domain name in my network, so I am using always this name. Okay, if you want to see what you have configured, so here we configure the host name and we configure the domain name. Okay, so everything will save into the running configuration. How you can verify? It is like save or not. You just run this command. So running config. Okay, like here you are able to see host name is this, domain name is this. These two things only we have configured now, right? So yes, I have lots of things also. So we will as we complete our classes, we will get to know all the features. Okay, there, everything. We also have a concept of device names here. Okay, that concept we are not using anymore nowadays, because every organization use the local DNS server for resolving the name to IP address or IP to name, that name to IP addresses. Okay, so ASA right now no one is using these kind of features there. Okay, like if you want to configure that feature, you can. If I'll configure I'll like name, I give the IP address like 10.1.1.100. I'll give the name inside host. Okay, so what happens now? I can ping, like in my topology, I'm having this inside host. Okay, so now if I want to initiate a ping to this guy and I am not able to remember the IP address of this guy, in that case I run this command, ping inside host. Okay, so now in that case ASA automatically resolve that IP address. Okay, that is the only use case of this name. Okay, you remember this thing. Password is a very important thing. How we can configure the password for different levels. Okay, so let me first configure the password for privilege level. Okay, so right now if I go into my user access mode, okay, so I am in user exit mode. Okay, if I run here enable keyword here, so here basically it is asking for password, but we are not configuring any password. So basically we just press the enter here. Okay, so now how we can configure the password? We just go to into the configuration mode. That is the command to configure the privilege mode password. Then enable password. After that we can define the password. Like I'll give this one. Fix it. Okay. Fix it. So I have configured the password. If I'll again go to exit and again exit, if I enter the enable now, it is asking for password. Okay, if I press the enter, so it is like giving that message invalid password. For now, I need to type my password, which is Cisco. If I type the Cisco here, I can get the access. Okay, so that's the way how we can configure the enable password in Cisco AC firewall. Every organization have that password there. Okay. Now one more thing, if we want to set the password as user access level, okay, at user exit mode, because I am not able to show you that practical on that thing, okay, that's why. So if I press the logout here, if I exit from here, so I am not able to exit because the thing is I am using that VMware, okay, that's why. If you are using that live system and when you go to into the first time that user exit mode, if you have password over there, like in our case we use this one pass wd, okay, and here we can type any password, like we can use admin here. Okay, so when you get the console access, okay, so before getting to this mode you need to put this password only, okay, then only you are able to get this mode. Okay, let me try if here it will work or not. Let's see. No, in our case it not work because the thing is I using the VMware stuff there. That's why. Okay. Here I enter my password, which is Cisco in our case. Okay, so I'm telling you, if you are getting that console access first time, in that time you have to define this password. Okay. Otherwise, you are not able to get the access of ASA firewall. Like it is like similar to how we can configure the enable password. Okay. Now there is also every organization also have a login banner. In login banner, what they mention the name of the company and the name of the location of the firewall, name of the firewall, that kind of information. Okay. How we can set the banner here? We just run this now banner login, and here we can define the like this is my firewall. You can give this keyword and write this one unauthorized access is denied. Okay, like this. You can set like this. Okay, so you have a banner now. So how we can like get this banner message? If I exit from here, when you run this enable keyword, you enter this password. So let me now again try to log in here. Actually, you are not getting these details. Okay, so I will show you these things when we practical on over the SHS and the telnet. So in that case, that time we get these details when we get the login on ASA firewall. Okay, so just skip for now. We will see when I complete that thing. So after that, I will show you how we can configure that steps. Oh, okay. Now we are in interface configuration mode. So interface configuration basically includes what kind of things we require to configure the IP address on a particular interface. So that interface starts sending the data. Okay, just remember this thing. What I'll do here, I'll just go to in my firewall. Let me disable this host for now. Okay, let me connect my management interface also here. Okay, so I have connected my inside interface and management interface through this bridge. Okay, and that bridge have a one router and one window PC. Now let me start my firewall. Now we will see actual how we can configure the SHS, how we can configure the telnet, and how we can configure the IP address on management interface and IP address on these other interfaces as well. Okay. After that, we will test everything from this host. I'll just try to telnet over there. I'll try to SSL over there on management interface and Giga 0/0 interface. Okay. So what I'll do basically, I'll just connect my management port. Okay, let me open that place, that topology only. Okay, here I can draw something. Okay, so what happens, I'll put like my management subnet like 10.10.0/ like 10.1.1.0/24. Okay, so I'll configure like here 1.1.0 IP address, or in my inside interface I configure 250 IP address. Okay, and I'll configure the IP address on my inside of which is 10.1.1.100 here, and I'll configure one IP address on my inside router which is 10.1.1. Let's suppose 101. Okay, so the thing is this full network. Okay, so like this full network basically come in a same subnet. Okay, so I can send the data towards the ASA from this window PC to this window PC, this ASA firewall, and from this router to this ASA. Let's suppose this is my inside interface only. Okay, inside interface. Okay, and this is my outside interface. This is my DMZ interface. Okay, so the IP address of DMZ is this 10.2.2.0/24. Okay, and the IP address in my outside interface is 192.168.1.0/24. Okay, like 0/24. Okay, so the thing is I'll configure the telnet service in my inside interface and in my inside interface and management interface. Like I'll configure telnet, SHS, these two services over there. Okay, and after that I'll just try to access from this PC. So that is our task now going to. So let me start my topology here. Let me first open the console of this firewall first. Let me also open the router and also open this window PC. Okay, what I need to do, I need to configure the IP address on same subnet, right, in this window PC. So what I'll do, I'll just run this command ncpa.cpl. So you got this network sharing center. Here you just define the IP address on this interface. As your as you configure in your systems, right? You go to in IPv4 settings there and you just configure the IP address, which is 10.1.1.100. You configure the default gateway 255.255.0. After that, this is a subnet mask, and here you define the default gateway. This is 10.1.1.250. 250 is the IP address of our firewall. Here you also define the DNS. So I'm using the public DNS 8.8.8 and 4.2.2.2. Okay, done. So you have configured the IP address. How you can check the IP address in your Windows PC? You always run this ipconfig in the CMD. So this is the IP address. This is the 10.1.1.250. This is the default gateway information. Okay. If you want more information, you just run this command ipconfig/all. It also gives the information regarding the adapter also. After that, it also gives the physical address. Okay, that link address for IPv6. Then that's the IPv4 address, which is also in preferred subnet. Okay, lots of details is available here along with the DNS details. One more command we generally use in this is a route print command. Okay, to see the routing details in Windows PC. Okay, so if I run this command again, route print here, you are able to see this is like 0.0.0 means any network. If this PC initiate any kind of traffic, basically it's send this traffic towards this IP address. Okay, 10.1.1.250. Remember this point only here. Okay, 00 means any data. If he is going to like access Google services, Facebook services, it sends this data towards this guy only. 10.1.1.250. So in our case, this is IP address of our firewall. Okay. So now let me now configure the IP address on this router first. After I will configure my ASA firewall. So maybe in your routing classes, that guy will teach you how you can do the configuration of routers. Okay. So I'll give the name of that guy like inside router to set the host name in router. Okay. Now I have connected the fast Ethernet 0/0 interface, right, with this firewall by using one bridge here. How you can add this bridge? It's like simple. You just go to network. You can add this bridge. Okay. So maybe I will also explain you about this EVNG. How you can install this EVNG other stuff there. Okay. So now let me open the router. Okay. Now so here I have configured the IP address now. So I just go type interface. After that I type the interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay. Now let me exit. You can also type this thing. Okay. FN 0/0. It will work. Okay. It means like we are using the same interface. After you define the IP address 10.1.1.101 and the subnet mask which is 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown command. No shutdown means by default this interface is down. Okay, so if we want to up this interface, we need to run this command, no shutdown. So when you run this command, you get these two messages. Okay, means the state of this command change into up state now from down. Okay. So we have configured the IP address there. Okay. Now let me go to my ASA firewall and I have configured the IP details here as well. Okay, so the thing is what happens, I have configured lots of things there, right? But right now everything, I am having nothing here. Okay, after reloading this ASA firewall. Why? Because if we configure anything, which configuration goes into the running config mode. Okay, so if we want to permanently save this config, for that we need to run one command, which is write memory or copy running to startup. Okay, so if I'll change the host name here, like host name ASA firewall. Okay, so it is available in our running config. If we see, okay, in running config we have a host name, this one. Okay, if I'll see my startup config, so we are not having any startup config as of now. Okay, so what we need to do, we can run this on copy run to, so copy running to startup. Okay, because startup is a configuration when our device reload, okay, and it come back again, it basically load all the configuration which is available in startup config only. Okay, now if this time I'll see the startup config, I'll have startup config and host name is ASA firewall. Okay, now let me add a domain name as also. Okay, like I am just giving this time cisco.com. Okay, if I'll check my running config, so run, I also have a domain name here. Okay, if I check my startup config, so startup, I'm not having any domain name here. Okay, how I can now basically move that running config into startup config? I run this command on again, copy running to startup. Okay, if I'll check again my startup config, right now I also have a domain name here. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you once again tell the reason why we are like copying the running config to startup config?
Okay. The thing is, when we do any type of configuration, okay, which by default save into the running config. Okay. So the thing is, if we want to permanently add,
On ASA or any device?
no, yeah, see all the Cisco devices like Cisco switches, Cisco router, and Cisco firewall like Cisco ASA. Okay, I'm not talking about the other devices like Cisco also have a Cisco Wise where we have like different commands. Okay, the command is similar. Maybe they can support
Okay.
write memory. I hope so. In also in your routers, basically, if you not having any, if you don't save any configuration, that is also name like known as a save. We are just saving our configuration which we have, which we configure in our firewall. Okay, because the thing is,
Okay.
see, let me show you one more thing here. I have configured these two things. Okay, which is available in my
Mm-hmm.
startup config. Okay, and which is also available in my running config. See, we have a in running config as well, right? Now let me configure the IP address in my interface. Okay, 10.10. I give this 50 slash. I run this command name it inside. I run this command no sir. I define the security level which is 100. I will tell you what is this later. So if I show this, if I show my running config, so you are able to see this interface having the IP address and security level, right? Which is available in my running config. If I check my startup config, so in startup config, nothing is available here, right? So what I do, I made the changes right now. I not save that contact changes in my startup config. Let me reload the device. I type Y here. Okay, so this device is now reloading. So the thing is now when Cisco AC will reload and it come back again, it basically load all the configuration which is available in startup config, not in running config. Okay, so means if device is reload somehow or like got hanged somehow, basically that time it is not able to like load all the running configuration. Okay, so for that if we made any changes, we need to save this changes into the startup config always. Okay, I hope you are clear now.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, no worries. You can also see here. So that is the like verification footage. That's why it is like name like startup config means if Cisco AC file will start, it basically load that file only. Okay. Okay, so if I'll go to in my running config, so run. So I am having these two things, okay, which is also available in startup config, right? And the IP I am not having any configuration. It is like having here. Let me show startup. It's like very weird behavior. Okay, it is also having a startup. Okay, okay, got it. So the thing is when I run this command reload, okay. So here basically we get this message system config has been modified. So here we get this message saved, okay. So means this message means it is like saving that running config into a startup config, okay. That's why actually it is like reload that thing there, okay. So control F6 X. I need no actually. So the thing is, let me now. That time I will bypass that configuration. Okay. So right now I have a IP address on my this interface. Okay. Giga 0/0. Okay. Let me also configure the IP address on this interface. Okay. So I'll just go to in my this interface. I just run that no set command here. After I set the IP address which is 10.2.2.250 and that subnet mask. I define the name which is DMZ and security level which is 50. Okay. So if this time I'll check my running config. So I'll have IP address on these both interfaces. Okay. Giga 0/0 and Giga Ethernet 0/1. If I'll check my startup config, I am having IP address only with in my Giga 0/0 interface. I'm having nothing here. Okay. So now let me reload this device. So basically here it is asking me like system config has been modified. I'll just run this no, confirming the reload. Right now it is like starting reloading again. Because sometimes what happens if there is any power fluctuation happens, okay, that time there is a chance RASA like got loses the power connectivity and basically it automatically shut down. After it again shut, it basically again come back again. In that time, basically it reload only the startup config, not the running configuration. Okay, so let's see. It is shutting down now. It is shutting down these processes. Okay, so now let me go into my configuration mode. If I'll check the running config now, so basically I'm having IP address only on this interface. Okay, I lose the IP address on this interface. Okay, so that's why we need to, if we made any changes, we need to save these changes always. Okay, okay, so to save these changes, we can run this command copy, run to startup, and also there is one more command, write memory. Okay, write memory. So people usually use this write memory always. It is like similar to this command only, copy run to startup. Or people also use this write only sometimes. Okay, it will work. Like write mem, or write memory, or copy run to startup. These are the similar commands. Okay, so now let me configure the IP address on this interface now again. No sir. IP address 10.2.2.250.255.255.255.0. Name it, which is DMZ, and security level, which is 50. Okay, so if I check my startup config, I'm not having any IP address over there. Okay, so I just save my config. So I run this on write memory.
Sir, what is this security level 50100?
I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Let me first you see that thing. Okay, what is the difference between running config and startup config? Okay, I'll tell you that thing only. That is the next topic. Okay, so if I run this startup configuration here, right now I'm having the IP address on both of my interfaces. Okay, and which is also available in my startup config. Okay, and also if I'll check my running config now, I am also having the IP address on in my running config. Let me remove that IP address. Okay, I'll just then run this one, no name it, no IP address, to remove the IP address from an interface. If I run this command, so running configuration here, I'm not having any IP address over there, right? On this interface, I am having only the security level. So let me also remove the security level. No security level. Okay. If I run this command, so running configuration here, so I am not having any IP address on this interface. Okay, so that is a running configuration. If I see my startup configuration where I have a IP address on that interface, right? So let me this time reload my firewall. Okay, and I am not saving any configuration here. I'll just run no to confirm. Okay, so this time basically ASA come with the IP address on both interfaces, but in our running configuration we are not having that IP address. Okay, so it always basically load the startup config only if it is like restarting. So but the thing is, you have removed that IP address from running configuration. Okay, So if you do any changes, you must need to save these changes always. That is you just remember that part. In production, basically, if you reload any ASA firewall, it takes around 20 minutes to come back again. Okay. So you have to wait till 20-25 minutes. Okay, now if I see my startup configuration, I am having the IP address on my both the interfaces, right? 0/0 and 0/1. So what ASA do basically here? Basically he just copy all the startup config into the running config now, and when he reload, he just load all the startup config into the running config. Okay, so now that is our actual configuration. So remember one thing, it always load the startup config. So now let me configure the IP address on my interfaces. Okay. So this is my inside interface Giga 0/1, and Giga 0/2 is my DMZ interface, and Giga 0/0 is my outside interface. Okay. So let me just open that firewall here. How we can configure the IP address? Interface Giga Ethernet 0/1. Let me check the IP address. What is the IP address? So interface IP read. Let me remove these IP address, okay, because otherwise I'll get the mismatch message. No IP address, no name, no security level. Same with Giga 0/1, no IP address, no name, no security level. Okay, now I'll just configure the IP address. So I have removed. See, the thing is that command we use to show the IP configuration in ASA firewall. Also interface IP brief. Right now I'm not having any IP address. So let me first configure my inside interface. So I'll use this command interface. We can use this one as well. Interface Giga 0/0 0/1. First we run this command no shutdown. So when we run this no shutdown command, basically by default all the interfaces in down state. Okay, so we run this command to basically change the state from down to up. Okay, after that we define the IP address. So that is the, so we use this IP address. After that we give the IP address 10.1.1.250. After that we define the subnet mask 0. Now we define the security level. Okay, 100, and the name if. Name if is inside. So basically we use name if here to identify the interface. Like this is our inside interface. Okay, so we give this name, like this is the name for inside interface only. We use security level kind of things in ASA firewall. Okay, so that security level value basically we have configured between 0 to 100. Okay, so what is the difference between, if we set the security level value here 0, sorry, that here we have set this value is 100. 100 means it is the like most trusted network. Most trusted means where our actual inside user is sitting. Okay, or sits. This is a like outside network. So here we give the security level 0. 0 means like there all kind of attackers is sitting. So in internet, basically it's like unsecure or untrusted zone. Okay, so means for that untrusted zones, we set the security level 0, and this is a DMZ zone. So DMZ is a zone like where we provide, we are hosting some web services, so that we provide the access of the DMZ server to outside users as well as to inside users. So we generally put the security level 50 here. Okay, so we have like set the security level here, we set the 100. Okay, here we set the 0, and here we set the 50. Okay, so now what happens, we have set this kind of security zone. So what happens, all the traffic which is initiated from these users towards the internet, which is by default allowed, means from traffic from high security level to low security level is allowed by default. And also one more thing, from inside to DMZ traffic is also by default allowed. Okay, any traffic which is generated from outside towards the inside users, by default deny. Okay, means we are not allowing the traffic from lower security zone to higher security zone. Okay, so the thing is, we use these security levels to define the trustworthiness of a particular interface, means how much we trust the users which is available behind this particular interface. Okay, now I hope you are clear with the security levels, what is the use of security levels and why we define these security levels. If you
Sir, I have one doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like for demilitarized zone, we are providing 50. Like, but outside network can access to this 50 server.
Yeah. So the thing is, what happens? We have provided here 50, right? And for outside, we have provided 0. So what happens? We just open the access list to allowing that traffic which is coming from outside users to our DMZ servers. Okay, for that we need to open an access list to bypass the security level checks, because ASA apply few checks on that all the traffic. Okay, so if basically if we configure ACL here on this interface and we define like these are the users and this is my server which is available in DMZ zone, and I want provide the access of this server, so I'll define these things in my ACL rule. Okay, so that is known as a, now what the thing is, are we allowing these users to access my DMZ resources? Okay.
Okay. So like suppose the internal, the local area network can access the WAN connection like outside?
Yeah. See, inside users can access these outside world. Okay. By any means. Okay. So by default means from high security level to low security level, by default traffic is allowed. And what kind of traffic is allowed? This is a traffic TCP and UDP only. Okay.
TCP, okay.
Yeah, only TCP and UDP. Okay. By default, TCP and UDP is allowed from high security level to low security level. That's why we always give the high security level to our inside interface and low security level to our outside interface. Okay. And 50 to our DMZ. Because in DMZ maybe we have some web services or any kind of services, for that these outside users also want to access these services. Okay. So the thing is,
what if someone,
okay, tell me.
What if somebody wants to email to us in our company or organization in security level 100, but if an email comes or if any packets come to the firewall, it get denied, so they cannot like contact us. So if we provide like security level 100.
Yeah, in that case, what we do, we basically define the ACL rule here. Okay. What kind of traffic we want to allow from outside to inside. Okay, so we can define like if we want to allow the web, if we are having any web service over there, we allow the web traffic here. Okay, if we are having any SMTP services like mail services, in that case we allow here mail services like IMAP, POP3, and there is also SMTP, these protocols over there. If we are running any remote services like SHS service, Telnet service, so we have to open these rules also here for these particular services. Okay, like, so we just open these rules like for 22, 25, these kind of service like 110, 139. These are the like, this is IO POP3, and this is like IMAP, and this is for SMTP. Okay, this is a SHS service. Okay, so we usually allow these ports here, and we define the ACA rules for that. Okay.
Okay. So like this in this demilitarized zone, we have all the servers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if any traffic is coming, so it will come to firewall, and then it goes to demilitarized zone, and then if the demilitarized zone is clear, it will come into our local area network. Correct?
No, man. Actually, can you repeat your question?
So if anybody wants to like send us an email or send us some document, transfer some file.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like why we need like this demilitarized zone?
The thing is, what happens? We have a DMZ zone because the thing is, sometimes what happens? We have provided the access of these web services, right? These DMZ zone to outside users also. So maybe in outside there is some attacker guy. Okay, he is sitting here. Okay, he may launch some attacks on these ports. Okay.
Okay.
Like he attacks the TCP flood, TCP SYN flood, any kind of attack like TCP SYN flood. Okay. And there is also like DNS flooding attack right now. DNS flood. With that kind of attacks, maybe he launch. So there is a like chance to these servers may compromise, right? By that attacker. So the thing is, but the thing, if these servers is compromised, our inside network is safe still, right? That's why we put, because in inside network we always put our confidential information or the confidential data and confidential users, like, because in user system all the confidential information is available, right? So we usually put these confidential. And also one more thing, in every organization they put the mail server here in inside network only. Okay, not in DMZ zone.
Okay.
Because the thing is, mail is a server where lots of confidential information is available. Okay, so they usually put these. They also put some more servers. It depends on the architecture of your network and how much security you want. Okay.
Okay.
So like in banking kind of environment, basically these are the very secure network. Okay, so they put all the confidential information in inside zone, and they put the like basic information in DMZ zone as well.
Okay.
Okay.
For accessing its website and all that stuff. Correct?
Yes, correct. Okay. So
yeah.
Actually Mahinder is not taking today your classes, I hope. Okay. So can we take around 5 minutes of break? After that we will continue. So I'll need around 20-30 more minutes to show you the Telnet and SHS services, how we can configure.
Okay.
Okay guys, just take a 5-minute break only. Okay, actually I'm getting some calls, so I need to take these calls. That's why.
Okay.
We'll continue in 5 minutes only. Thank you. Okay. So we have configured the IP addresses, right? So run. If you want to see what you have configured in an interface, you need to run this console and interface. After that, the name of that interface. Okay. In our case, the interface is the Giga 0/1. So you have configured the name, if you have configured the security level, and you have configured the IP address. Okay. And also you run that command, no shutdown command, right? So that command is not available here. Okay. Here only shutdown command is available. Okay. If you see the other interfaces like 3, you have that shutdown command also there, right? So no, if you run no shut command, which is not able to see here. So we have configured our inside interface. Okay. This interface. Let me also configure my DMZ interface. interface giga 0/, what is the name of interface, which is 0/2. So I have configured the 0/2. I done first one, which is no shutdown. I'll define the IP address, which is 10.2.2.250, and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. I define the security level, which is 50. So we have configured the giga 0/2 interface. Now we configure the giga 0/1 interface. Okay, so here I am using the subnet, which is 192.168.1.0, and this is my outside interface. Okay, so how I can configure that interface? I'll just configure this interface giga 0/0. I'll run this on no shutdown. After I'll define my name, which is outside. Outside means the interface which is connected with the internet or with the ISP. Okay, and that interface always have the public IP address. Remember one thing, we have a two kind of IP address, public and private. Okay, and that interface have the security level, which is 0. So we have configured the name. Let me now define the IP address: 192.168.1.250.255.255.255.0. Okay, and we have done that configuration, so we need to run this command write memory to save our configuration. Okay, so now what happens, this is my firewall and this is my inside host, this host, right? So I have initiate a ping to check the connectivity. Okay, everything is working perfectly or not. So we use this command ping and the IP address of my firewall, which is 10.1.1.250. I am able to ping. Okay, here I am getting the ping, means our connectivity is correct now. I can also ping from this to this router 101. I am able to ping, so means our interface is working fine. We have a connectivity from this interface to this interface. Okay, let me also ping this window PC. Okay, so window PC having the IP which is 100. I am also able to ping my window PC. If I'll open my window PC, and if I ping my ASA 10.1.1.250, so my ping is working. I am able to connect with my ASA firewall. Okay, so that is the way how we can check the connectivity after configuring the IP address on the interfaces. Okay, so if I try to telnet to my firewall, which is 10.1.1.250, if I want to now get the telnet access of my ASA firewall, I am not able to get this. Okay, let me also open the PuTTY here. We use that PuTTY software always to do that kind of things. I'm not having this. I'm not having that software there. Okay, so let me use this device. Okay, to initiate a telnet to my firewall. I run this one telnet 10.1.1.250. I'm not able to telnet this because by default, as I told you, by default telnet service is disabled on firewall, right? So how we can enable that service? We run this one telnet. After we define our subnet. So let's suppose we are going to configure this telnet service on our inside network. So I'll define my inside subnet here. Okay, 255.255.255.0, and the name of that interface, which is inside interface. Okay, so I have configured the telnet over there. Okay, now if I try to telnet, I am able to telnet on this firewall. Okay, if I run the password here, actually right now I'm not having any password on enable. Okay, that's why. So So let me check I am having any password. I'm not having any password, so let me configure the enable password. Enable password, which is Cisco. Okay, I have configured the password, so I'll just run this command, write memory. If this time I'll run this telnet here, I'll just enter my password, which is Cisco. Enable password of ASA firewall. I am not getting. Okay, actually, what happens now? We in this version, Cisco ASA is running with 9.x. Okay, it is running 9.6. So these are the like very high end versions. So they have changed lots of things there. Okay, so for that you also need to define the username and password. Username Cisco, password Cisco, and privilege 15. Means now we are defining the username and password. Okay, so that is the way how we can create a username or local database. Like if we have another user, like your name, like Nadeem. Okay, I'll set the password for Nadeem, which is Nadeem itself. Okay, and I'll give the privilege level, which is 15. Privilege level is 15. We define always. Okay, now we have a two usernames, Cisco and Nadeem, in my firewall. So like these are the username which is working, which is like responsible for configuring that firewall. So we have put the user details of these guys only here. Okay, now I'll run this command, AAA authentication. After that I'll just take this one, telnet console, and here I define the local keyword. Okay, so these are the commands, main commands to configure the telnet. We need to configure this thing. Okay, we need to also configure the username and password here, and we also need to enable this telnet. After we define our subnet, which is 10.1.1.0 255.255.255.0 and the inside interface. So if I run this command, so these are the main commands, like this. These two commands must. Okay, after we can also use these two commands as well. Okay, these are optional. We can also go with one only. It depends on you how you want. Now if you try to telnet on ASA firewall, so now it is asking my username and password. Okay, so for that you have to insert the Cisco this user details. Okay, now I'll get the access of ASA firewall. Okay, if I'll go enable here, I give the my enable password, which is also a Cisco password. Now I get the remote access of my firewall. Okay, so any doubt on that configuration, how we can configure the telnet over there? Any doubt? I will repeat these steps again if you want. Otherwise I will continue with the SHS configuration, how we can configure the SHS access. Everyone is okay with that? Okay, Nadeem, sure, definitely. So what happens basically, we configure telnet or SSH on Cisco SA firewall to get the remote access of this particular device, right? What happens, let's suppose this ASA is available in our data center always, right? So what happens, and you are sitting in your DEX, and from your DEX you want the access of this firewall. How you can access this firewall? So if you want to access this firewall, you always configure the telnet or any remote authentication like telnet or SSH on the firewall. Because if you are use console port, okay, to get the access of this firewall, for that basically you need to go to inside the data center and you just need to connect the cables over there. So it's a like very lengthy job. Okay, that's why we configure the telnet or SSH services which provide us the remote access of a particular firewall or particular device. Okay, so that is the way. Like sometimes what happens, you are in home, right? Let's suppose you are in home and you got a call from your team lead, and what happens, he just say please make these kind of changes on a firewall, it's like very urgent, or it's like P1 ticket, that kind of thing. That time what happens, you also enable the that telnet or SSH access on your outside interface. So what happens, you just open your open a putty and you just try to access this firewall. You just take the SSH access of this firewall from your home only, and you can make the relevant changes, okay, on that particular firewall. I hope you are clear now, or you need some more like real-time example I can give you. No worries. Okay. Okay. So the thing is, what is the difference between SSH and Telnet? Okay. As I told you, Telnet is a like is not provide any type of encryption and hashing. Okay. So anyone can see the data which is going through that SSH, that Telnet connection. Okay. So basically, if you want to secure that connection, okay, if you want to secure that communication, for that you need to configure the SSH, okay, because SSH is a very secure. So let me show you one more interesting thing here regarding Telnet only. Okay, so let me exit from here. I have exited from the Telnet. Okay, let me try to run my Wireshark if I am having that Wireshark. I will show you. This is like what is the difference between SSH and Telnet. That is the main difference, okay, because Telnet is not secured and SSH is a secure. Let me select my interface here. Need to select my I'm not getting my adapter here. Let me check my adapter is running or not properly. Otherwise I run the capture over there, okay. That adapter is enabled. Why it is not showing here? I hope this is not that Wireshark is not working man properly. It is not fetching my all adapter. Okay, otherwise I will show you like how we can basically see the what kind of traffic this is going, how we can capture the data which is going through these things. Okay, so I will show you that thing maybe tomorrow. Let me now complete the SSH, how we can configure the SS on the ASA firewall. So same thing, we just log in into the firewall here. So let me first disable the Telnet because we can't run both the services at the same time. Okay, either we can run the SSH or either we can run the Telnet. Okay, so I'll just disable the Telnet here. I'll just copy this command, okay, and just paste it here. Now I enable the SSH. After that, I'll define the same things. The step is similar for both. Okay, 255.255.255.0 and then interface which is inside. Now Pale authentication. After we use the SSH, console is local. we already have a username and password there. Okay, so we can run this command. If Sora username, we have these two username and password here. Okay, so right now I have configured my SSH in my firewall. How I can verify? I just go to in my router. I run this on SSH. Okay, after that I just use the L here. SSH minus L. After that I'll not tell that is SHS. Okay, after minus L. After I'll define my username. Okay, like I'm using that Cisco and the IP address of my firewall, which is 10.1.1.250. Enter. Now I'll put my password here. Now I have got the SSL access of this firewall. Okay, so that is the way how we can enable the telnet services, how we can enable the SSH service on the firewall. Okay, let me show you one more thing over there. If you want to get the access by using the, see right now I'll use this router here. Okay, to get the SSH. In this time I use my putty here. Okay, so let me open my putty. The usual people always use this software to get the SSH. Okay, so let me enter my IP address of my firewall. Okay, here I select the SSH and the port number is 22 and I open. Sometimes it takes lifetime because SSH is a secure, that's why. I'm not getting. Let me try to ping. I'm able to ping from here or not. Okay. Before pinging, let me check my adapter is having the correct IP address or not. If this guy is correct, everything is fine here. If I ping this firewall, definitely I get the access 10.1.1.250. Ping is not working. I'm not having putty on this system. I don't know why they not put that thing there. Okay then. So only that is the way. Actually, I have maybe some issues with my adapters because I'm running that stuff in my VMware. Okay, so that's why. So I will maybe figure out something there. After that, I will try to show you maybe that thing tomorrow. How we can run that capture and other stuff. Okay, to telnet or SSH, that kind of stuff. Okay. So okay guys, I will continue the same class tomorrow. So tomorrow we will discuss more about the same thing. Okay, and we will maybe explore some more features on SSH and the telnet. After that we will try tomorrow I will try to also like configure that routing little bit. I will cover the routing for routing things. So maybe I will try to show you how we can configure the static routing and default routing. After that we will continue with the other routing protocols like RIP, EIGR, QSTF. Okay. Okay guys, bye. We'll share that video recording with you guys. Okay. Thank you.